Hello family and welcome back. In today's tutorial, we'll be walking you through steps to create a stunning off-shoulder dress perfect for any special occasion. Kindly don't forget to hit the subscribe button if it's your first time here. Also like and leave a comment below. And to kick off this project, we'll need two vibrant stretchy fabrics. Each is 1 yard long. The green one is for the collar and sleeves, while the blue will take center stage as main dress. I'll show you a clever way that allows us to draft both front and back for the dress at the same time. Alright, we've got 1.5 meters for zipper, which is perfect. At the top edge here is the shoulder line. Let's move on to vertical measurements. Now, because this is an off-shoulder dress, we'll need to account for neckline. To do that, I'll subtract 6 inches from the total length as I measure to bust line at 10 inches. Again to waistline at 15.5 inches. Whereas hip line is to be measured from waistline. Mine is at 9.5 inches. Lastly, take your full length line measurement from off-shoulder neckline to the length you need, which for my case is 42 inches. Now I'll be forced to repeat the same on side. This only helps in achieving straight horizontal lines, which are to be squared out across marked points using straight ruler, as you'll see. From there, we'll label all the drawn lines from bust line all the way to the full length line, just so it's easy knowing which is which. Time to measure half shoulder circumference on the off shoulder line strictly from the center front. Now from it, measure your chest line and mark as well, after we square out a line across the mark. So apparently that's the chest line. Moving forward, let's transfer half shoulder measurement to drawn chest line, hence allowing us to draw a straight line for the armhole depth. After that, grab your measuring tape to find quarter bust circumference around chest line. This will make it easier to draw armhole curve just like that. In this next step, we'll be focusing on taking half bust span on waistline and on bust line for easy drawing of that line. On the drawn that line, measure that width of 1 inch from waistline. That's basically 0.5 inches on each side. Likewise, reduce it by 1 inch from bust line. Then also measure 5.5 inches on the lower part, so that will be the total dart length required to draw a basic dart for the dress. On the same note, measure quarter waist circumference on waistline and mark, plus 1 inch dart replacement, plus 1.25 inches more seam allowance. Clearly we have quarter bust circumference already marked here, so I'll only add the same stitching allowance on it. Let's also take quarter hip circumference and mark on hip line, plus 1.25 inches stitching allowance. Same consideration is to apply to full length line, which for my case is 7 inches plus same allowance. And that leads us to the dress outline drafting. As can be seen, straight ruler takes care of the border's outline, then a hip curve ruler creates a smooth line for the skirt outline. That's me cutting a long drawn outline. In this next step, we'll be focusing on tracing out front center line on back pieces from top to bottom edge. After that's done, flip front part as can be seen so as to waist snatch with 0.5 inches inwards from center line, as well as outwards on the seam allowance since it's too big. Given these points, go ahead and draw new center line and seam allowance as shown. Since we've reduced the upper seam allowance to 1 inch, let's mirror that on the bottom too for consistency. When done, cut along it just like I'm showing you. Here is a key technique that will save you time copying darts. Simply press open scissors along the dart fold, then using pressed crease as guide, transfer that shape to the other pieces underneath. With that completed, let's get straight into stitching dart first on both front and back pieces. We'll walk you through stitching darts step by step following that fold mark on your fabric. Stitch from the upper apex to the lower one. Don't forget to backstitch at top and again at the end to keep everything strong. I also have these lining pieces which I'm going to show you all how to attach to fabrics. After putting right sides together, stitch along side edge with 0.25 inches only. This is me doing so practically just as explained earlier. And of course, after this, ironing is necessary to make the fabric lay flat. Alright, time to also attach the front facing to its fabric from side edge. Here is everything ironed nice and flat. Don't forget that's true. Give them final press towards the center lines. Next up, we'll mark exact zipper length needed on the fabric, just so we can stitch loosely along it. A back stitch right here, then proceed with small normal stitches to where the slit starts. This is how it looked like after stitching as explained, and I've decided to notch slightly above the slit to allow seam allowance to lay flat. From here, let's get back to sewing machine to stitch alongside edges using body measurements which I've drawn already. With side edges sealed, let's work on the collar. My off-shoulder circumference is 38 inches. That's the total length I need all round. I'll go ahead and confirm measurement here if it needs any adjustment, and of course 30 inches is a lot. For that reason, I'll be forced to deduct 0.5 inches from each side, which leads me to new armhole curve as can be seen. So basically the total measurement I'm left with is 12 inches, of which 1 inch is total stitching allowance. Also me cutting out a long new armhole curve. Guys, I have with me one of the sleeve pieces which is on fold. The longer side is about 19 inches and that's perfect. Let's get hands on and draft puff sleeves you saw earlier. Have decided to measure 14.5 inches from the fold. Then I'll draw a line radiating towards lower junction in that manner. On top of that, I'll measure 0.5 inches from top edge for stitching allowance. After which I'll bring forth the dress so as to trace out armhole curve on the sleeve piece. Additionally, we'll measure 2.5 inches upwards from bottom edge from where I'm to draw new bottom edge as shown. I'm currently cutting through lines created. You're about to know how to calculate measurements needed for the sleeve top part, so pay close attention to get it right. I mentioned earlier that 38 inches is the total round of shoulder measurement, from which I'll subtract front and back neckline. As per what we have, front and back neckline measurement is 11 inches each. That's a total of 22 inches. Therefore, subtract that from 38 total measurement, which equals to 16. That means to get each sleeve measurement, you'll be required to divide 16 by 2, which is now 8. In simple terms, guys, each sleeve will be gathered to 8 inches. I'm done making puff sleeves. Take note that their top edges are 8 inches each. From there, I'm now going to seal the collar edge by stitching with 0.25 inches. This is to be done from inside like that. I was hoping to find a way to professionally stitch the collar on the inside, if you understand what I mean, but this being an off-shoulder design, that unfortunately won't work. So we have to finish collar edge with a raw look. Have sealed collar edges and iron. Let's now bring forth sleeve just so we can attach them armholes to armholes. To do this, spread seams flat like that, then stitch all round with 0.5 inches for both. Here is what we've got, guys, after attaching sleeves to dress armholes. The marked point is the center line. So very fast, let's measure total collar edge, which is 18 inches. Yes, I know that's not what I said earlier, but since I wanted a perfect fit, I decided to reduce the gathered sleeve to 7 inches instead of 8. Alright, I'll now demonstrate how to cut collar pieces. After folding, take required length measurement, which in my case is 18 inches, and of course plus 1 inch total stitching allowance. I'll go ahead and draw a line, then measure on each width of the collar. 3.5 inches is perfect. On the same note, measure that on the opposite side for a straight horizontal line to be drawn as can be seen. I'm currently cutting a long outline, then I'll later stitch all around it, sparing only the collar edge. Guys, I'm done stitching and ironing, so now we'll attach it to dress neckline as I'm showing you from center point all the way to the end. I explained we just have to finish it with raw look, but this is not what I hoped for. But of course, I'll have to overlock it later. At this point, I haven't overlocked yet, but this is it. The look is still on fire, and this is how I finished the zipper end. It's folded and top stitch if at all you're wondering how I did it. Kindly watch the first video in my description, also a dress with collar, and you will see the difference I've been talking about. Don't forget to share your comments in the comment section, and be sure to like and subscribe for more sewing tutorials. Let's meet again next week. Bye!